Hello everyone, I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. In the headlines, Nept Paquette to contest the Grand Bay seat for the UWP in 2020, replacing Noreen John, who passed away earlier this year. Opposition parties react to Prime Minister Skerrit's announcement that general elections will be held within 100 days. That government implements initiative to improve the investment and productive climate. The details coming up.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow.
A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited Flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD. All for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
The UWP's slate of candidates is now complete with Tuesday's presentation to the nation of Nept Paquette as the party's candidate to contest the Grand Bay seat in the 2020 general election. Nept, a former member of the Village Council and various youth groups in Grand Bay, replaces former candidate Noreen John, who passed away in May.
I am humbled and honored to know that by standing here today, I am actually retracting the steps of my blood relative, former Prime Minister, deceased Pierre Charles Pierrot. Like me, he stood up and elected to represent his people, and today I am prepared to do the same. I am humbled and challenged. Humbled because of the magnitude of this decision to carry the mantle of leadership in my community, and challenged because I know that the road ahead is not going to be easy. I am, however, confident that I have what it takes to succeed as a candidate, and by succeed, I mean to win. I have a plan, and I will work to restore agriculture, improve farm access, and to introduce new innovative practices and technologies in farming and agro-processing. My #1 mission is to entice new and younger farmers to get involved in farming. And with the UWP government, Grand Bay will be home to a special agro-hybrid cannabis propagation plant. Yes, my vision for Grand Bay is indeed radical and revolutionary. The once bustling South City will bubble again under a UWP government.
He has also announced plans for development in tourism, culture, and youth affairs. He says Grand Bay has very little to show for its 20 years of support for Labour. Meantime, UWP leader Lennox Linton says Nept identifies with the team's assignment to realizing human advancement for all Dominicans, and the party is happy to have him on board.
Nept is a young man, but a young man of courage and a young man of vision. You'd understand that at this particular time in Dominica, with so much money going around for young people to just cool out and shut up and hush them off and say nothing about what is going on, NEPT is putting all of that behind him because he can get the cool out money too. But he has something in his heart and in his soul about his country and the need to save his country and to restore his community to the glory days that they knew before, and to improve on that, to come out of that long, dark night of suffering, frustration, and hopelessness that the Grand Bay constituency has been through in the last 20 years. This young man stands to be part of a team whose vision is to make our nature island in Dominica the best place to live, the best place to work, and the best place to enjoy life in the global community.
Mr. Linton says NEPT's vision aligns with that of the UWP, making it easy for him to integrate. The announcement that elections could be held within 100 days has prompted leader of the Dominica Freedom Party to accuse the Prime Minister of testing the resolve of the people. Kent Vital says the Prime Minister did not give a date for elections as he does not yet want to dissolve Parliament. He believes it would be ill-advised for elections to be called in the absence of electoral reform.
The people have said that there should be no elections without reforms, and in particular they have been referring to the reform related to the cleansing of the voters list and the issuance of ID cards. These reforms are necessary on moral grounds, or even based on perception, because the right thing must be done. Elections must be seen, not just be seen to be fair, but must be perceived to be free and fair. And the people have called for those urgent reforms related to the cleansing of the list and the issue of ID cards. And he's testing whether or not the people will stand by the word. But I want to say to the Prime Minister, although he has the legal authority to call the elections, the moral obligation, the right thing, doing the right thing transcends your authority given by law. The people are your boss. The people have said that they want reforms. The people, the majority of the people have said so. And you should subject yourself to the wishes of the majority. It is only the right thing to do.
Vital wants to see recommendations made by the Joint CARICOM Commonwealth OAS Special Mission on Electoral Reform implemented.
You yourself invited the OAS, a special mission from the OAS, from CARICOM and from the Commonwealth, to make recommendations on the way forward. They made the recommendations. They are not a political group. They made the recommendations, and they recommended that there be a voter verification exercise. They recommended that there be issuance of ID cards. They recommended that persons from overseas or voters who are resident overseas, those who do not meet the criteria of being in Dominica for within the last 5 years, that they should be removed from the list. They made their recommendations clearly, and your government, the government, has rejected those recommendations. So the Prime Minister is really testing the resolve of the people.
The Freedom Party leader believes the Prime Minister is also testing the people by failing to provide transparency on the allegations of a missing $1.2 billion in CBI money. The Prime Minister has refuted those allegations that CBI funds are unaccounted for. Meantime, former press secretary under the Eugenia Charles administration believes the upcoming elections could be very combative if the issue of electoral reform is not addressed. The former press secretary and editor of Link magazine says elections can be a tough time for citizens, but he says a January election before Carnival would be useful in that sense.
Most people do not believe that you can have the electoral reform conducted within a few months. So I suspect it's going to be an issue. And you've heard of the threats there will be civil unrest and all this kind of thing. And they may well be. At the back of my mind, I always felt that if we don't have some kind of agreement regarding electoral reform, it's going to make the elections very contentious. And whoever loses is not going to accept losing that easily.
Bellot says while all political parties generally agree on the need to cleanse the electors list, the effort takes much longer than it should because citizens fail to play a critical role.
We do not do, as citizens, what we're supposed to do. sending the notification this person is dead. This kind of thing. A lot of Dominicans are dying overseas, and that's. But you cannot just remove their name because you think they're dead, or somebody said that they're dead. You have to present the documentation, death certificate and things like that, and that's so for good reasons. You might recall when Ron Green, many years ago, he was leader, I think, of the UWP then, made us a bottle airplane and presented names. He said these people should be off the list, they're dead. And after the names were presented, 2 or 3 of them said, no, I'm still alive. There's another person by that name who may be dead or may be off island. And he stayed quiet after that. And that's the issue. And it's always better that somebody who is dead, who should not be on the list, but is still on the list, that somebody who is alive is not on the list, if you understand what I'm getting at. So in most countries, you will have a few so-called dead people.
He says the bigger issue is the overseas vote.
The Labour Party, I firmly believe, and most people would agree with that, they believe they get a lot of support from diaspora. Most diasporans seem to like the Labour Party, just like most diasporans like Eugenia Charles. It was often said that she's more popular overseas than locally. So the Labour Party has that conviction. And they argue, and the Prime Minister has been firm on that, the law says once you are visited within 5 years, you have a right to vote. But there's been no provision. How do we establish who has visited? But we know a lot of Dominicans overseas visit for independence, for Creole Festival, for Christmas, and especially for Carnival. So there are a lot of people overseas who are qualified to vote. And the Prime Minister is very reluctant to disqualify that funds, their rights to vote. UWP, I suspect now, have the opposite view. If they suspect most diaspora people are not going to vote for UWP. So as many diaspora people they can prevent by coming to vote through all kind of technicalities works in their favor. In other words, if you play the zero game, as far as they're concerned, if no diaspora person was allowed to vote, that may work in their interest. They stand to lose less than if Labour was not to allow any diaspora to vote. So to me, the issues are very clear. Both of them are within the law in the sense that the UWP is correct in saying the people have to be proven that they've visited 5 years. The government people say, well, you have to prove they have not visited for 5 years. So clearly, it's a question of some kind of accommodation, some time, or some kind of compromise. Because, as Tony Astafan often points out, the law right now says, once you're on the list, you have a right to vote.
Implementation of an initiative by government to improve the investment and the productive climate went into effect on Tuesday. Government is partnering with CARICOM and its OECS counterparts in this effort to promote manufacturing of quality products here and in the OECS. The implementation of Article 164 of the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas follows years of consultation with the private and public sector. The expectation is the enhancement and development of manufacturing capacity within the OECS and Belize. The initiative is expected to increase productive activity and employment in Dominica and across the region.
The products which will be subject to this initiative are curry powder, flour, pasta, aerated water, other waters, aerated beverages, malt, beer, stout, prepared poultry feed, prepared complete cattle feed, prepared complete pig feed, other prepared complete animal feeds, oxygen, carbon dioxide, acetylene, paint and varnishes, candles of paraffin wax, solar water heaters, chairs and other seats with wooden frames, upholstered furniture of a kind used in offices, furniture of a kind used in kitchen, wooden furniture of a kind used in the bedroom, and other furniture of wood and upholstered fabric.
Under this 10-year policy, a protective shelter will be put in place for manufacturers of the products mentioned earlier.
The Ministry of Trade, Energy and Employment, and by extension the Government of the Commonwealth of Dominica, encourages nationals to invest in the manufacture of such products. This will ensure that we do not become an import-dependent state and that food security concerns will be averted. The Caribbean Development Fund has committed to supporting this initiative by providing financial support to producers of these products.
There will be a 5-year review period for that policy. You are watching Channel 5 News. We'll have more after this.
A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD, all for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
If you're HIV positive or have an STI, having unprotected sex with multiple partners puts them in grave danger. You'll expose every partner and their present and future partners to HIV or another STI. Use a condom every time you have sex. You can live a productive life even if diagnosed with HIV. Remember, early detection is key to your survival. Be responsible, protect yourself and others. Help stop the spread of HIV and other STIs.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts, with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
Thank you for staying with us. Leader of the Parliamentary Opposition, Honorable Lennox Linton, says the UWP government will ensure that the date for general elections will not be left to the impulses of any government. The opposition leader was reacting to a question on the Prime Minister's announcement that general elections will be held within 100 days.
Sounds to me like the person who made the announcement continues to play games with the people of Dominica on an important matter like the date for general election. Which is why, when we get into office, one of the first things that will change is this business of one man or one woman having a date for election in his or her back pocket and playing games for 2 and 3 years with people. I will call it now, I'll call it later, ends. There will be a fixed date for elections every 5 years, and no individual will serve for more than 2 consecutive terms in the seat of Prime Minister.
Here is how the opposition leader characterized the current situation as it relates to the upcoming general election.
We have one man playing games with the people of Dominica. Where the people are expecting now to have electoral reform. He's coming out to test the waters, having denied the people electoral reform, following a decision of the Independent Electoral Commission in 2008. He stood in the way of it happening in 2009 elections. He stood in the way of it happening in the 2014 elections. And he is making sure that it is not going to happen. He's doing his best to make sure it's not going to happen for the 2019 or 2020 elections, whenever those 900 days elapse.
In other news now, the Environmental Health Department is reporting a notable decrease in the number of derelict vehicles around the country. Here is Andrea Louis with a report.
Late last year, the Environmental Health Department embarked on a campaign to rid the country of derelict vehicles, both an eyesore and a breeding ground for mosquitoes, rats, and other pests. Chief Environmental Health Officer Tassie Thomas says several people have expressed concern over the number of derelict vehicles, and the department has taken steps to get rid of them.
We also partner with the solid waste because, first of all, I know persons are very concerned about the derelict vehicles in the environment, but we have as environmental health, we have officers all over the island. So what we have done, actually we started since last year, our officers have already gone on the ground and identify all the derelict vehicles in their district and submit this information to the solid waste management. So the solid waste is responsible for removing the derelict vehicles.
Thomas says a number of factors affect the efficiency with which the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation can haul derelict vehicles from their current location.
It's the responsibility of solid waste to haul them out and so on, and they are doing their best. They don't have so many haulers to take away the derelict vehicles, and then the few that they have, they break down easily, because think of having a derelict vehicle, say, in Penville, and then you have to transport it all the way down to Portsmouth or probably even Roseau. So they break down frequently. So hence the reason a lot of them are still there.
The Chief Environmental Health Officer says a lot of work has already been done in removing derelict vehicles thus far, and more progress would have been made had it not been for the challenges.
When environmental health officers went on the ground to identify them and get consent from the owners to remove them, we amassed 600 plus, and solid waste have so far removed over 500. So it's not so many left out there. But as I said, persons are still calling and telling you, well, they are trying to. The thing is, the moment somebody is not using the vehicle and they might see probably a flat tire or two and so on, they refer to the person's vehicle as derelict. But we cannot remove somebody's vehicle on the road if it is not derelict.
And Chairman of the Dominica Reparations Committee is calling for the restoration of historical sites around the island. We go again to Andrea Louis for more.
Dominica is currently into its independence season, where various aspects of the country's heritage, culture and history are featured for the pleasure of visitors and locals alike. Reparations Committee Chairman Dr. Damian Dublin highlighted two significant structures in the city of Roseau, which he believes should be restored.
In Dominica, there are two important structures. The Barracoon building, that was the place when the slaves first came. That was like a holding area. They were held in the Barracoon building. Then they were taken to the Old Market Plaza, where they were prepared, oiled up, and for sale. The Old Market Plaza also was a place used during the Maroons War, which was very important. We have to give credence to the Maroons because of their struggles, they ensured that the emancipation process happened. But we're saying that the Old Market Plaza is also a place where a lot of blood flowed, because whenever they captured the Maroons, they would bring them there right in front of the people, and do what they do, they kill them there or beat them. The whole idea was to intimidate the others, but it didn't have the effect that they anticipated.
Dublin says restoring these historic structures will help Dominicans and visitors appreciate the country's rich history and heritage.
Part of our call is that these places be restored to their historical. So we say the Barracoon building should be set up as a museum so people can know what happened, whatever way we have to organize it, and the Old Market Plaza to keep that significance of memory that people know. These are places that need to be revered, because that is an important part of our culture. Very importantly, we are happy that a monument was set up in memory of the Maroons right by Fort Young, but we also say that a monument should be set up in memory of the Kalinago people.
And in sports, Dominica went down goalless in its fourth match in the CONCACAF Nations League. The local team played Nicaragua on Monday, losing the game 4-0. Prior to that, the Nature Island boys tackled Nicaragua in Nicaragua on Friday night and also lost that match. The score at the end of the game was 3-1. Public Relations Officer of the Dominica Football Association, Gerald George, filed this report on Monday's game.
Dominica lost their fourth straight match in the CONCACAF Nation League when they went down by 4-0 against Nicaragua at the Windsor Park Stadium on Monday. Nicaragua opened their scoring in the 42nd minute of play for a 1-0 advantage at the interval. Nick Anthony received a red card in the second half to reduce Dominica to 10 men. Nicaragua went on to score 3 more goals to complete a comfortable 4-0 win. This is Gerald George reporting for Channel 5 News.
Dominica at the bottom of the points table is getting ready for its next set of matches in the league in November. The Nature Island boys will take on Suriname in Suriname and St. Vincent at the Windsor Park Stadium.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts, with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow.
A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited Flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD. All for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
To end the news, a look again at the headlines. Nept Paquette to contest the Grand Bay seat for the EWP in 2020, replacing Noreen John, who passed away earlier this year. Opposition parties react to Prime Minister Skerritt's announcement that general elections will be held within 100 days. And government implements an initiative to improve the investment and productive climate. Feel free to contact us at news@mapping2k4.com. You may access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.